launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air. Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
Oh, what a beautiful Friday it is in Tampa Bay, in Champa Bay. The Lightning on the precipice of advancing to another Stanley Cup final, their third in a row, in the effort to become the first to win 3 in a row post or in the salary cap era. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. Appreciate you guys joining us each and every day here. We got a great show for you again today. We're brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Big Lightning fan himself. Coming up at 10:15, we're going to take you live to London for the LIV Golf Experience, whatever the hell that is. Nick Geddes is from Outkick.com is trying to explain it to me. They have a shotgun this morning. There's a beer league shotgun going on with teams. I have no idea what's going on. But Bob Herrick is going to join us at 10:15 to suss it all out. And Scott Reynolds will join us from the Pewter Report at 10:30. Brady's interview yesterday making huge waves across the sporting landscape and I guess the underwear model landscape. That's important, I'm sure. We'll talk to Scotty Reynolds about that. Then 11 o'clock, our visit with Brian Bradley, who I believe was in MSG last night and did not get sucker punched. So unlike the other Lightning fan that so famously was sucker punched. Good morning to you, sir. How are you? How'd you like that game last night?
I was going to say, how could I not be doing good after what we saw last night? It was a total shutdown effort by the Lightning in a pivotal game 5 that you had to have. We talked about an MSG, snapped the 8-game home winning playoff streak for the Rangers. Of course, the Lightning were going to be the team to do it. So I'm in a great mood this morning.
Yeah, and you brought it up yesterday that the Lightning are have the highest winning percentage of any team in NHL history, not only on the road but overall.
Yep. And
that road history last night was fully on display. And it was weird because I'm watching this game and it's a tie game, and then it became a 1-goal game. And at no point did I think the Lightning were going to lose. I mean, that's just, and it just goes. It speaks to the experience level and how I thought from the very beginning, and you could look at stats, and the stats are like dead even across the board, almost dead even. But to me, I had the sense that the Lightning were completely controlling the tempo, controlling the game. It was actually exactly the type of game they wanted to play, and they at some point were going to cash in and win the game. Did you get that sense just from having watched the Lightning for so many times in this situation?
I took away the third period. There was really the first period was really tight out there. There wasn't a lot of room. Both teams hardly any chances. The third period, though, I felt like there was chances for the taking for both teams, and the goaltenders came up huge. But at the same time, the Rangers, I think, had maybe the higher chances in the third, but the nerves, I think, were there for them because you saw Strome. I don't know. That's
come on.
There's a lot of Rangers fans that are older that'll tell you they have plays they point to that haunt them. Yeah. I think for the younger generation of Ranger fans, one's going to haunt them.
That's it.
Because that was it right there. You put that in, you probably win that game. And
that makes it 2-1 with 5 minutes to go. I mean, the Lightning then bring an incredible push. Maybe they win it in overtime, but I mean, that's an unbelievable whiff at that point. I mean, he had the complete open net. He was in perfect position. He just whiffed. And people will say, oh, that's just bad puck luck. That's a nervous stick. That's a person that has not been in that moment and has not delivered in that moment. And that's the difference, I think, right there is the difference between experienced teams getting those opportunities. We saw the Lightning fail at those opportunities for years and years. We've seen it. And you generally just get more comfortable in that situation. And when the pressure is on, some teams feel it, other teams don't. That to me is the most tangible explanation or video explanation of experience versus non-experience.
It kind of just felt like the whole third period, the Lightning never forced the issue really.
Nope.
And they kind of waited around. They waited around, let the Rangers, tire themselves out, get their chances out of the way. And then on the goal, the Sergachev goal there, or was credited to Palat after.
Yeah.
Because it went off his leg. The puck retrieval. How many times on that shift did the Lightning get good puck retrieval in the corner and all 5 guys touch the puck? I mean, that's what you need. You talk about like baseball, manufacturing a run.
Right.
I felt the Lightning last night on both goals. That's manufacturing a goal, and it's in its purest form. And I think that's the difference.
What have we been talking about? That's sustained pressure in the zone. Like, how many times have we seen the Lightning score off the rush? Not many.
Not many in this
Not
series.
many. No, it's, set it up, retrieve the puck, do it again, shoot, do it again, do it again, do it again. Get 30, 45, minute in the zone, and eventually you're going to get them to crack.
And what do we say? And what has everybody been saying? You got to get bodies in front of Shesterkin.
Yep.
You got to get bodies in front of Shesterkin. He didn't see either of those shots.
He did not.
From Sergachev.
He did not.
And I'm sure Phil, and we'll play the goal calls here in a little bit, but I'm sure Phil Esposito, I mean, I think he's always said his favorite goal is just a straight wrister. Just put it on net. I'm sure he had to have loved to see the guys at the point just throw it on net and see what happens. And credit to Mikhail Sergachev, a guy that I think has been pretty scrutinized for his play.
Yep.
I'm probably been leading that charge, but last night he picked a great time to play maybe his best game in a Lightning uniform, I'd say.
Especially with McDonough going down for a large chunk of the game. But that's always been, I think, Sergachev's best quality is his ability from the point to skate and find just a little crease. He can see it and he can activate it, and his shot is very, very accurate. Listen, when it goes through 4 or 5 bodies, is there a bit of puck luck to that? Yes. But you still have to you still have to find a shooting alley and put the puck on net. And he is very adept at just moving into a space and knowing exactly when to snap that wrister. And that's an incredible talent. And it showed up big last night. Big time.
Yeah.
What a game. And a couple of ancillary things that we have to talk about too. Not only the win, but obviously this sucker punch thing is getting huge play. If you have not seen it, I retweeted it at FanstreamJP. I'm sure it's on our show page as well. By the way, follow our show page, the JP Peterson Show, if you would. It's disgusting to watch on so many levels. Lightning fan walking through after the game, enjoying the win. Ranger fan right in front of him just couldn't take it. Turns around, absolutely cold cocks the guy. Doesn't square off with him and let him get ready to punch. No, this wuss bag, it turns around, cold cocks the guy, and like a little bitch runs away. And then I can't tell you how many Ranger fans just walk past the dude and leave him on the ground. Somebody did stop. A couple Ranger fans did stop. But the majority of people, nobody grabbing the other guy, nobody, people laughing, people making jokes in the, I think he's dead. I think he's dead. I mean, just disgusting behavior on so many levels. They did arrest the guy. It charged him with assault. I'm sure up in New York, you will get a slap on the wrist and probably be canonized as a Saint Ranger. I got guys on my Twitter saying, I heard there's going to be an active hurricane season. Awesome. I hope Trouba beats the shit out of Stamkos so he can't play against the Abs. This is who these people are. I don't want to broad brush an entire fan base, but there's a lot of that on Twitter.
Hey.
It's disgusting. And, I'm really trying to not stereotype and broad brush the whole group, but there's a lot of these animals that think that this is okay. It's not okay.
Hey, I was gonna tell you they were going after Sonia too on Twitter.
Are you kidding me?
Sonia had to put it out here. I thought she was going to throw hands with these people. This guy on Twitter said John Brancy makes the lady who sings for the Bolts with the horrible blue lipstick sound like she never sung in her life.
And we were laughing at that dude, that baritone dude. I mean, that's so cliche what you sing. At least she has some originality to what she does. Yours is just a baritone cliche national anthem. Big effing deal. I can do that.
Yeah. So there were some Ranger fans going out here, but as you could see here, her response, she did not take it lightly. So
what did she say?
She said, "Hope you got a rise out of talking shit about me for no reason. I do my absolute best every game. Our team, owner, GM, and our fans love my rendition. And some of your fans too. If you don't have something nice to say to this vet, keep your mouth shut, sir." Yeah,
it's also part of, we honor the military every time we talk about Sonia and introduce her. It's so typical Ranger fan. Again, you don't want to broad brush an entire fan base, but my God, I mean, just awful on so many levels. And you know what? It extends to the ice. Trouba tries to take Palat's head off with a flying elbow. And there's actually people like, oh, if you obviously never played hockey because this is how it. No, that's not hockey. That's not hockey. The elbow he gave, I forget who he hit the other night that he wasn't called for. Belmar. Disgusting.
He's the one that he took out Crosby in the first round, which changed that entire series.
Yeah. He's a goon. He's look, I understand that he can be a really good hockey player when he wants to be, but for the most part, he's a goon. He's a goon. And that's what he's there for. And this is why the Rangers are not going to win this series, because they're more intent on doing bullshit like that at the end of the game, starting fights when you just lost. That's what they're about. And when you have that mentality, you're not going to win anything. You're not going to win squat. And you may have thought when you won 2 games, this is your time. Like you told me on Twitter, that Bolts are old. Shesterkin is better than Vasilevsky. This is our time. This is the Rangers' time. And I'm like, oh, first time deep in the playoffs in quite some time. Takes 4, not 2. And now there you sit, down 3-2.
Yeah, and the Vasilevsky Shesterkin thing. Remember, everybody acted like we gassed him up too much for the first 2 games. After the first 2 games, remember that they gassed him up. There's no way this is the same guy. Yeah, in the last 3 games, Andre Vasilevsky has given up 2 even strength goals. The one in game 4 was at the end of the game when it was 6-on-5.
Right.
And the one yesterday was a fluky shot from the corner board from a guy who never scores over the high blocker, which is obviously his weakness if he has
just throwing it at the net.
Just throwing it at the net.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, too. This goalie battle has flipped on its head just like the series has.
Yep.
I mean, the Rangers 5v5, nothing from their stars. Nothing. I didn't see much from Zibanejad last night. The Panarins of nothing. And the kid line has gone quiet too. That's now 3 games in a row they haven't gotten the score sheet. The kid line.
Yeah. No, the Lightning, and I thought if you missed our discussion yesterday with Dave Mishkin, go check it out. It's on the podcast yesterday, and I think we really broke it down to how the Lightning use their versatility and their hockey IQ to understand what the other team is doing and then take it away. It's very Belichickian, if I may say that they really, and every team coaching staff can kind of figure that part out of it. But as we talked about yesterday, you have to have a special group of guys that are committed to do what needs to be done, like Stamkos blocking shots from the point, slap shots from the point at 100 miles an hour last night. You got to be committed to doing that, doing it in the dirty areas, and give up your selfish goals of wanting to score 5-6 goals a game like the Lightning used to want to do. And now you hear him talk about structure, defense first, and the goals will come. And that's the mature attitude that you have to have. Getting back into the series is not about forcing your offense. It's about maintaining structure and defense and then taking your opportunities when they're presented.
Yeah, and I can't believe we made it this far without even bringing it up. How about, speaking of players, how about Stamkos late in the game?
Wow.
You want to talk about getting your ass whooped?
Yeah.
After you literally just got your ass whooped in the end.
Yeah.
Alexis Lafreniere, which I'm trying to think back. This might be maybe the second fight I've ever seen between 2 number 1 picks in the league.
Yeah, 2 overall
that does
number 1
not happen
picks.
Often.
Ginla and LeCavier, were they both number 1 picks?
No, but
I don't know if Ginla was.
Lindros and Joe Thornton did that back in the day. But anyway, that was Stamkos' LeCavier moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think LeCavier may have lost his fight just a little bit to Ginla. This one was no contest.
No contest.
He got 1 punch in from Lafreniere, and Stamkos just came unglued.
Yeah. And he had a lot of blood. Lafreniere had a lot of it, and he looked a little dazed and confused.
And I love how Stamkos just got up like a badass. He's just like, back to Tampa.
It's having covered Stamkos from, the day that he was picked here and the Scene Stamkos campaign and everything else, and him coming in as an 18-year-old, and there are questions about whether he could play in the NHL or was ready to play in the NHL, and maybe certainly there was a lot handed to him early on, but this Stamkos has grown into what I would consider the quintessential captain and leader. It really has. And then last night was a perfect example. This whole series has been a perfect example of him taking shots and blocking shots and doing everything that needs to be done, showing the courage, and then finishing it off with a fight last night. I mean, that's leadership, man. That's the epitome of leadership. It's fun stuff. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to go across the pond and visit with our good friend Bob Herrig and talk about this incredible story that's developing with LIV Golf, Live Golf, and what it's doing to the PGA Tour, what their response has been. This is a historic moment in the world of professional golf, and we'll take you to the epicenter with the most insider guy there is, Bob Herrig. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at PalermoPA.com. Scott Reynolds will join us at 10:30 from Pewter Report. Brian Bradley at 11 o'clock. But right now, we're going to jump across the pond and welcome in our good friend Bob Herrig, lead golf writer for Sports Illustrated. Nobody knows more about what's going on with the PGA Tour than this man, and we welcome to the show. What's up, Bob? How are you?
I'm doing well, JP. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I hear there was some interesting things going on in press conferences yesterday at the LIV tournament. I tried to watch it somewhere, couldn't really find it. It seems like a very interesting beginning to this LIV tournament. Just take us on the ground there. What's going on? How it's being received there on the ground?
Well, first, it was going to always be a work in progress. This was never going to be a buttoned up thing from the beginning. They basically pulled this tournament together in 2.5 months. They announced their schedule during the week of the Valspar. And, the Valspar is a year-round endeavor. to make that thing go.
Right.
And to make it work. All the tournaments are. They had a venue and got all this together in 2.5 months. And if you given that background, I think it's come off pretty well. Once you got past all the bells and whistles, the music playing, they had the Grenadier Guards like you would have at Buckingham Palace. They had British cabs taking players out to the holes because it's a shotgun start. All of that. Once you got past all of that, it was golf.
Yeah.
It's golf. I mean, and some decent golf and some not so good golf. And, as I wrote, there was Phil off in the woods, just like we always see Phil hitting tee shots into the woods, and Dustin Johnson missing a couple of putts that he should have made and that kind of stuff. But how's it being received on the ground? I mean, I wouldn't call it it's not a standing or whatever, a sold out venue by any means, but it's a healthy, decent golf crowd that and they've got a lot of hospitality and that kind of stuff. So they're doing all that part right. The part that's going to be harder is obviously getting more players on board. You noted that it's hard to find. If you go to livegolf.com, they're streaming it. Okay. It's on YouTube, but I mean, they're not going to reach a wide audience doing that.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see if people think it's sort of, it's just sort of like, the first, the XFL. There was a lot of interest in it for a couple of weeks and then it waned. Like there was a curiosity factor. Will that be the case with this? Will there be curiosity and then it will drop off? They're going to need to get it on some better platform to watch it, an easier platform. But again, I think they have the time to pull that off, and if they have the patience, then it's I think it has a chance to work, and yet it's going to continue to be very, very disruptive.
And that's the Bob Herrick joining us from Hertfordshire, England. That's the rub, right? How the PGA Tour has reacted. The Jay Monahan, the commissioner, sent a memo out to all 48 players in the live field. They will be suspended indefinitely. As far as we know now, it looks like all of them will be able to play in the U.S. Open next week. The USGA is not doing anything. I don't know what the stance is as far as the European Tour and the Open Championship coming up. And what is our good friend Fred Ridley going to do about the Masters? I just can't for the life of me see him saying, Dustin Johnson, you can't play here at the Masters. But maybe, is the PGA Tour going to petition the Masters and Fred Ridley to say, hey, you got to stand strong with us? This is just kind of a, hey, you got to pick your side here at some point. Is that how you would, how do you see the repercussions playing out?
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And the majors is a big one.
Yeah.
And to your point, would they disinvite a former champion just because he's doing this? I mean, look, we might not like it. You might not like it. I might not like it. We could get into the funding of it, which is highly controversial. But the bottom line is nobody's breaking a law. So you're going to tell somebody they can't come to a tournament because you don't like what they did. I mean, like you don't like where they decided to play, but they're eligible. But you can't come because we don't like where you play.
Right.
I just think that's really going down a bad road.
Yeah.
Now, down the road, they could change their criteria and they could make it very PGA Tour heavy in terms of qualifying for the majors. It already is.
Right.
I mean, top 30 in the FedEx Cup, winning a PGA Tour event. There's no other tour event around the world where I'm talking about the Masters now,
right.
where if you win, you're in.
Right.
But there is on the PGA Tour, top 30 at the end of the year, top 30 2 weeks before, top 50 at the end of the year, top 50 2 weeks before, top 30 in the FedEx Cup the year before. All that gets you in the Masters. Winning a tour event gets you in the Masters. So maybe they make it even more of that. Maybe they drop it down to top 50 and take out the world ranking criteria,
right? Which
is going to be the only way these guys are going to have. And that's the other thing. The live events right now don't have world ranking points. They have to petition for that. There's some questions as to whether or not they'll get them. So then what? Then these guys need to go out and play probably like on the Asian Tour, which sanctions this, to try to get world ranking points. The DP World Tour hasn't really said what they're going to do.
Wow.
The tour has closed the avenue for sponsor exemption. So let's, for example, Dustin Johnson, who's played the Valspar the last couple of years, he is no longer a PGA Tour member. So he can't just pick and choose a PGA Tour event, all right, as a non-member. So, okay, well, what if Valspar said, well, we'd like to make him a sponsor invite. They have 4 unlimited sponsor exemptions that they can give to basically anyone within reason.
Right.
Like that's where the Tom Brady or Tony Romo exemption would come from. That's where a guy who is a club pro or maybe even a guy who's an up and coming pro.
Jackson Suber from Palmacia. Yeah.
So, but they have said that they are not allowed to give those exemptions to these guys.
Wow.
So, so a guy like Dustin Johnson isn't going to be able to play on the PGA Tour. I mean, think about it. No Players Championship for him. No President's Cup. Very unlikely Ryder Cup. Because they're not going to allow access. So that's going to drive a little bit of a wedge, I think, here in the game in the short term, and I don't know if that's good.
No, well, it's not good for the fans, right, Bob? I mean, are you kidding me? We're not going to have Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed on the Ryder Cup team or the President's Cup team. I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
how does it affect the European team? I don't know what their rules are. So you've just destroyed those events too? I mean, wow.
Their rules are that you have to be a member of the European Tour, and I think that's why they're caught.
Yeah.
They are caught in a big dilemma right now. I mean, think about it this way. Think about the international side of the President's Cup. I know a lot of people dismiss the President's Cup. Right. It's not the Ryder Cup, but it's still a pretty good tournament.
It's awesome.
And it's got, and the PGA Tour, it's backed by the PGA Tour. It's their version of the Ryder Cup. Well, they've got Charles Schwartzel, Brandon Grace, Louis Oosthuizen. There's 3 guys right there who are doing this who wouldn't be eligible for the international team. It basically decimates it.
Yeah.
Like it's, in other words, like that team came close to winning in Australia a couple of years ago, and now those guys aren't going to be able to be part of it. So the ramifications of this are pretty strong.
Yeah.
And while I'm all for, these guys having a right to play where they want, I just think there's something that could have been done before it got to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the PGA Tour might have been a little bit asleep at the switch. There's been talk of these rival entities. The Premier Golf League is another one going back a few years, several years. And the gist of this was, and I shameless plug, I wrote about this on SI earlier this week, was that, how did we get to this point? The reason we got here is the top players and their agents started to recognize that the top players were subsidizing the lower players.
Exactly.
In other words, you have 150 guys show up for a tournament every week, but the guys who bring the value and sell the tickets and the TV rights and the hospitality and the corporate sponsorship there's maybe 10 or 12 of them. The 100th guy, nobody's there to watch him other than just by accident, or because, oh yeah, I've heard about that guy, but he's not buying his ticket for him. He's buying his ticket because Brooks Koepka came or Dustin Johnson or, Colin Morikawa. Well, but on Thursday morning, those guys are assured zero.
Right.
And I had one agent say to me, this is part of the entertainment business. Well, Tom Cruise signs up for a movie. He's not waiting to get paid based on how many tickets the movie sells.
Exactly.
He's getting paid based on his worth as a star, and golfers don't get that. I mean, and look at the greatest example we have in golf is Tiger. Tiger's made plenty of money. I'm sure he has no issues, but let's be honest. When he came to Valspar a couple of years ago, they sold out for the first time ever.
Yep.
So how much more money is that worth?
Right.
They added a couple of parking lots just because of him, and they packed them. So there's revenue for obviously they had to rent them, but there was revenue for the tournament. Clearly they sold more merchandise. They sold more hospitality. They sold more concessions. Tiger doesn't get any of that unless he performs. Now he did perform. He tied for second, which was great. But if he'd have missed the cut, he'd have gotten zero. and so it's a really, really interesting time that we've come to in golf. One of its charms is that you make what you earn.
Right.
But
from a business standpoint, it's not great for the players, and it never has been. But and then for those who don't know, and I know you know this, Bob, you don't get to number one on the money list without being 110 and 120. That's how you come up through the ranks. And if we don't have a mechanism to come up through the ranks, you never get to be Dustin Johnson. You never get to be Brooks Koepka. So that's where Tiger and Jack would point to. This is how it works in golf. This is our mechanism to make stars. You can't just cut that off at the knees. But I also understand that these guys are bringing celebrity and eyeballs to everything, and they deserve to be paid. So I guess in the long run, we got a couple more minutes here, Bob. How does this get resolved? I mean, does Live Golf, is it something that can sustain itself with paying every player $100 million? That's not sustainable.
No, well, it is and it isn't. I mean, the public investment fund of Saudi Arabia's got $600 billion in it, and they use it for things just like this.
Well,
it's a sovereign wealth fund. It's an investment fund that invests in companies all around the world, and they have, I'm guessing dozens, if not hundreds, of people employed trying to get return on that thing, and then they use the money for things just like this. Will it run out? Do they need a return? I don't know. They're looking, there's a thing called, I think it's called Vision 2030. And Saudi Arabia just puts it right out there. Like they have a plan to sort of modernize their country and try to, it's a public relations thing. I don't know if they're going to change their rules there or if they're trying to cover them up. But obviously we've all heard the stories.
Right.
They don't treat women very well. They still execute people. They don't look kindly upon gay people.
Right.
They sometimes kill them for it.
Yes.
Obviously the whole Khashoggi thing.
Right.
And I don't mean to diminish it. Obviously it was horrible, but they, in theory, are trying to change their culture, and they're doing it through sports, golf being one. They have an F1 racer. They have tennis tournaments there. They want to present themselves with the brighter side. And so if the golf itself never makes money, they are probably okay with it.
Interesting.
Because it's a means to an end.
Hey, last question for you. As we move forward, I know this is total speculation, but people are talking about, all right, so what happens now? You got 8 of these events. Do they eventually replace some of the smaller events on the PGA Tour? And not to, I'm not diminishing the Valspar in any way, because I think it's become kind of a second-tier event. Is that in danger in any way? Does the PGA Tour lose a lot of their dates? And could the Valspar be in danger?
I don't think the tournaments themselves are in danger, but what's in danger is, I mean, look, because it's local, they're the easy one to talk about, but this is for all of them. If you're the Valspar CEO and you're spending $10 million a year to put on the Valspar Championship, there's an expectation that you are going to get some of the top players.
Right.
It's not a guarantee. It's not in any contracts. They are not guaranteed any of these top guys. But given the way golf works, you're going to get some of them. And look, this past year, the Valspar had a great field.
Yeah.
Really, really strong field. Well, okay. Well, now you take Phil and DeChambeau, who's going to sign on today. It's already out there. It's been reported. He's coming on board. Phil, DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson,
Patrick Reed.
Now there's three less guys that can come. And if you're Valspar, are you going, well, wait a minute, we paid for this.
Right.
And now what if more come on board? I mean, there's going to be more, and so what if Liv might not get 20 of the top 50 in the world, but what if they have 8?
Yeah.
And then what if they have another 10 who are in the top 100? So they have 18 of the top 100 or 20 of the top 100 every week. Well, that's a lot of tour events have that. So it becomes an issue where, and look, we're only in the first year of a new TV rights deal for the PGA Tour. Are the networks going to be happy?
No.
Look at I feel terrible for the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
This is their first year back in 3 years. They were canceled twice due to COVID. They couldn't even play last year when basically, in the U.S. things were getting back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the travel restrictions, they just didn't feel like they could have the tournament. And so now they're finally back. And look, they have Rory, they have JT, they have Scotty Scheffler. That's great. But their field isn't very deep beyond that.
It's not.
And all the talk right now is this damn tournament in London, and it's taking away from them. And I feel terrible for them. But obviously this is a huge story, and that's why a lot of us are covering it and writing about it. And it's, like I said earlier, it's just very, very disruptive, and it's going to continue to be.
Well, Bob, listen, man, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Follow him on Twitter at Bob Herrig. And also, all the writings this week, if you want to know what the Live is all about and explained, it's all there for you. Bob did a great job, and he's covering it as it goes on. So check him out. Follow him on Twitter and at SI as well. And get the book, Tiger and Phil. Got to get that book as well for Father's Day. At Amazon, everywhere else. It's a great book. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thanks, JP. Be well. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. All right, quick break. Scott Reynolds is waiting in the wings. We're going to talk some Bucs football. Fascinating press conference yesterday with Tom Brady. We'll break it all down for you when we come back. Stay with us.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can find him at PalermoPA.com, and by the Golden Diamond Source. Father's Day is coming up. Lots of great stuff over at the Golden Diamond Source. Check out, get some of those baller watches. Go in and people bring some old jewelry in there, get some money for it as well, and buy something new. We've got it all over there for you at the Golden Diamond Source. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report's been out at OTAs all week for the Buccaneers and was at the press conference yesterday for Mr. Brady. Hello, Scotty. How are you, my friend?
Good, JP. How are you?
Good. And I forgot to mention, watching the Lightning take a 3-2 lead on the Rangers last night. How fun was that?
Go Bolts.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was absolutely amazing. To see the resiliency of this Lightning team is just impressive. They had to win one on the road, obviously, to win the series, and I think that's the game that's going to do it. I could see the Bolts coming back and wrapping this series up on Saturday night. That's what we all want, right?
Absolutely. And I kind of felt like in that third period, next goal wins the game, next goal wins the series. This game wins the series. So, the Lightning were just so, they're so experienced in that moment. They don't, miss wide open nets like the Rangers do. They just calmly, take their opportunities when they get them and let Vasi do the rest. And man, what a team we're watching right now. And very similar to the Bucs. I mean, you get a Super Bowl out of the Brady year, and then you get to the divisional round, and you barely lose to the eventual Super Bowl champions. And now you got a team coming back that's the favorite to win the NFC. This is fun stuff. And Brady talked yesterday, Scott, so I want to get right to it. What was your take on the many things that he hit on yesterday?
I think he just nailed it, right? I mean, it's crazy to think that the two times this franchise has won a Super Bowl, it's kind of been lightning in a bottle, right?
Yeah.
You had all this change when John Gruden came in 2002. The defense stayed the same, but I mean, there was wholesale changes on the offense, and 12-4 and a Super Bowl championship. It was amazing. Not as much change in 2020, but when you add Tom Brady to the mix, that's the magic ingredient, right? And it certainly was for that COVID challenge season. And so, Tom Brady said, we should be better this year. And I tend to agree that, they were 11-5 when they won the Super Bowl in 2020, and they were really healthy. Last year, health was an issue, and it reared its ugly head in the playoffs. But this team still found a way to win 13 games. Now, with Brady entering his third year, so much continuity on this team offensively and defensively. This should be a better season for the Buccaneers. It might not reflect that in the win total because they got a much more challenging schedule, but I could see, 12 wins this year and an even better team that wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I got them. I actually went under the 11.5 because the schedule is just so absolutely brutal. But making the playoffs, and it's all going to be about where are you late in the season, and and depth is going to be a huge part of that. And we've talked a lot about the offseason moves. And I talked about the press conference yesterday, which I thought was so very interesting. You were there, and there was actually the Bucks, the copy that they put out. There was an edit before when he started talking about Gronk, and then as he started answering the question about the Miami Dolphins. So I didn't hear the question. What went on there that they felt like they had to edit it out? Was there anything that we need to know?
Well, he was asked about any potential interest in the Dolphins, and it was kind of an open-ended question to kind of allow Brady to address playing for the Dolphins, being a part owner of the Dolphins, etc. And he dodged it.
Mm-hmm.
And, we could spend some time talking about it, but at the end of the day, Brady's in red tuxedo. Right? He's not in aquamarine and orange and white. And so maybe he does something with the Dolphins next year.
Right.
I don't think he's thinking about that at all. He's focused on the Buccaneers. And I think that's where the focus on Brady should be right now. And, he addressed the Arians thing. I'd love to hear that for the last time.
Yep.
And let's just focus on the Buccaneers with Tom Brady trying to get back to that Super Bowl this season. And, as long as this team is healthy, I think the NFC was weakened, with this offseason. I think the Rams are still formidable. The Saints are still going to be thorny in the division, but they're not going to win the division. So I don't see any reason why this Buccaneer team should not be considered a Super Bowl contender and really the favorite in the NFC, in my opinion.
Well, for the record, Scotty, I want to say I totally agree with you. I'd said this. We played the Brady interview yesterday on the show, and we're all curious about the Dolphins stuff. We're all curious about this and curious about this, but in the end, it doesn't mean shit. He ain't getting traded to the Dolphins. He's a Buccaneer this year, when the greatest schedule we've ever had, especially home schedule. So none of it matters.
Right.
And as much as everybody else wants to talk about it, it's over. It's done. Did he have a dalliance with him? Who cares? Why should he not listen to every business opportunity that comes his way?
Of course, it never hurts to listen, right?
No.
I mean, that's in business, that's the biggest thing is you want to listen and see if there's something intriguing. And see if there's a deal that can be worked out from a business standpoint. And sometimes, it doesn't materialize. And that's okay.
Right.
It's no slight on the Buccaneers if Tom Brady listens to the Dolphins and possibly talk about being a part owner in that organization. At the end of the day, it didn't happen. It's not affecting anything this year with the Buccaneers.
Yeah. And if it underscores anything yesterday, is that the Buccaneers played this situation perfectly. High stakes poker, the biggest name and personality and frankly talent in the game still, driving force of winning championships. They played it perfectly. They called his bluff. They called his bluff. He knew he wasn't going to play anywhere else but here, and brought everybody back. And now you have a team that's ready to go, and that's all that freaking matters. Kudos to the Bucs.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. We talked about it, and fans didn't want to hear it, but we talked about this team re-signing Blaine Gabbert.
Yep.
And if it came down to Gabbert versus Trask, and that may be the case next year, then that's the case. But if you went out and you made a big move, trade for Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, any of those types of moves, then Brady could say, oh, you know what, I do want to come back, but gosh, you've already chewed up all the salary cap room with this new quarterback, so you have to trade me to wherever I want to go. And Jason Light said, we'll leave the light on for you whenever you're ready to come back if you want to. He played it magnificently. And at the combine, right? I mean, Bruce Arians said, we like Kyle Trask, we like Blaine Gabbert, and it did box Brady in. And at the same time, this is not a bad destination. Tom Brady picked the Buccaneers in 2020. He won a Super Bowl with these guys. Any situation he went to, San Francisco, Miami, whatever, is not going to be as good as it is with the Buccaneers because he knows this system. He knows this team. This is a Buccaneer team that has averaged 30 points per game over the last 2 years with a proven coaching staff. So this is not like plan B for Brady. I think this was plan A all along. He just wanted to see, what else was out there. And, nothing wrong with that.
And going into this year on the field, I'm really curious to see how the wide receiver room kind of plays out because it looks a bit crowded, I would say. We know the top three, obviously. Based on what you've seen so far during the offseason, I know it's early. Do you think what they have in Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, Perriman, Darden, etc., do you think that's enough? Or is there a free agent name that you think they could bring in? Because it still looks like they have a little bit of cap room to play with.
Yeah, that's a great question, Nick. I think they have enough. At the same time, you'd like to think that enough's enough, but sometimes you need more, especially a wide receiver. And Julio Jones is a name to keep an eye on because I think Brady has a desire to play with him. He's still available. I think the longer that the summer drags on, the price tag comes down for a guy like Julio Jones if he still wants to play. Listen, he would be a better wide receiver than Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller or Jalen Darden or whatever. There's no doubting that. So I think that's an option, and I think that might come to fruition if they don't get great news on Chris Godwin. Now, we had Cyril Grayson, who's another guy in the mix too. Yeah. We shouldn't forget about Cyril. He was the hero of the Jets game. Also played really well in Carolina. And he hurts his hamstring along with Brashard Perriman. And then Tom Brady doesn't have a lot of weapons because AB is gone, Godwin is out, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Cyril Grayson on our Peter Report podcast 2 weeks ago. And we asked him, who's going to be the surprise guy in the wide receiver room? And he said, Chris Godwin. You might think, why is he the surprise guy? They just paid him $20 million a year. But the reason why is because he thinks Godwin is going to come back ahead of schedule.
Me too.
And the number he threw out was Chris Godwin the other day was running 19 miles an hour. Now, we're all used to 40-yard dash times as the measurable, right? So what does 19 miles an hour equate to? Well, I can drive 19 miles an hour. I can never run 19 miles an hour. That's a different kind of speed. But to put it in perspective, we asked him, okay, well, Cyril, what are you running? Because Cyril Grayson was a track star at LSU, didn't even play football there. And he said, I top out at 22 miles per hour. That's pretty damn good. For Chris Godwin coming off of a torn ACL to be running 3 miles per hour shy of a world-class sprinter and Cyril Grayson, that's a pretty promising sign.
Stem cells. Seriously, to these stem cells, we look at last year, Cam Akers coming back from an Achilles in 6 months. We're seeing guys come back from ACLs, these torn ligaments. I mean, these are the things that stem cells work great on. They regenerate them. So once they have these surgeries now, they juice them up with the stem cells, and the healing process just is accelerated dramatically. So that's when, I heard people talking about Thanksgiving. I was like, that's about a 4-year-old expectation. Things are way different now in medical science.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And I think, too, just to get back to Nick's point and question, your top three is set, right? You've got Russell Gage at 3, Mike at 1, and Godwin at 2. And so you've got 3 spots left on the roster. And Perryman, Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller. Miller's in a contract year. They brought back Perryman, so he's essentially on a 1-year prove-it contract year as well. Then you have Jalen Darden, who looked really good. And I talked to Jalen after practice one day, and I said, listen, were you just swimming last year in your head? He's like, listen, coming from North Texas, we didn't huddle. We looked over at the sidelines. They hold up a card with the play, right? And we ran the play. Here in this offense, it's so sophisticated, so complex. There are choice routes, option routes, where there's a play call in the huddle. You have a route that you're going to run, whether it's a hitch, a go, a dig, whatever. And then at the snap of the ball, you have to read the defense. Are they in man? Are they in zone? What type of zone coverage is it? And we're talking, 1 step off the line, 2 step off the line. You got to determine what type of defense you're facing. That takes some experience. It takes some intelligence. And more importantly, as a receiver, you got to be on the same page with your quarterback. You got to read it and see it the same way. Because if the quarterback expects you to be, somewhere on the field that you're not, because he read it the right way and you read it the wrong way, well, we've seen that. We've even seen that with Tom Brady early on in 2020 in that New Orleans Saints game, right, where there was an overthrow. Mike Evans stopped his route and he read it one way, and Brady overthrew him, threw it right to the defensive back for an interception. So that's where Jalen Darden's made some strides. Darden's a pretty fast player. When you know what you're doing, you can play faster. And I think that's what we're seeing in year 2 from Jalen Darden. And we'll see how it shakes out. He's not a lock to make this team. He's a 4th-round pick. The guy that I think is really going to put some pressure on him, that even Todd Bowles said he really wants to get a good look at when the pads come on, is Devin Tompkins, the kid out of Utah State.
I was going to ask you about him.
Agent.
Yeah.
This guy is electric, JP. He is a burner, really small guy, 5'7", 165 pounds, but man, he has got some wheels. He has got some moves. He's a pretty exciting guy.
It's real interesting being that small, but we've seen guys like that flourish in this league. He's not much. I mean, Tyreek Hill's no big guy, but look at the impact that he made. I'm not saying this guy's Tyreek Hill, but you never know when you're going to find some of these guys.
You're right, and even in Bruce Arians' offense, right? You go back to, J.J. Nelson out in Arizona, John Brown, right, who were small, fast guys. And there's always been a place for that type of player in Bruce Arians' offense. Even Scotty Miller was that guy, right, in 2020, with a couple of fantastic catches against the Raiders, against the Vikings, and of course, that huge touchdown catch before halftime up there in Green Bay.
And what about Todd Bowles? I feel like we're not talking about him a lot, obviously, but he is first time being a head coach here in Tampa Bay, obviously 2nd time total. Yeah. Have you seen any differences with kind of the way he's running things out there compared to Bruce Arians, if there's anything different?
Yeah, I think so. You're hearing it subtly from the players. The cut down of the MEs, the mental errors. It's attention to detail. It's being a hard ass on the details. It's doing things the right way. And I'm not picking on Bruce whatsoever. Bruce was a little bit more of a hands-off kind of coach, and he demanded perfection in his own way. But I think with Todd Bowles, he's anal, man. I mean, he just is on top of things, and that's what the players are relaying. And see, Brady loves that because he's that meticulous attention to detail guy too. And so I think that's exactly why this new head coach quarterback marriage is going to work out just fine. And especially since Bowles is a defensive guy, I think that has an appeal to Brady. He's used to that with Bill Belichick all those years. So you have a guy that grew up in the Arian system, but also grew up in the Bill Parcells system. So Todd Bowles is a throwback coach. And I think that really appeals to Brady. And, and listen, when you can look at the mistakes that were made last year down the stretch and get those corrected, you're going to have a much better football team.
Yeah. And I also think Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Pewter Report. I also think we've heard this a couple of times now, and I think this is going to be a difference when we talk about X's and O's and how this team is going to be different than maybe Arian's team. And it to me, it's the run game. And you heard Brady say this yesterday. He said it to Clyde Christensen when he first texted him about coming back. He was like, we got to get the run game going. The fact that I think Brady had a very big hand in bringing Fournette back.
Yes, he did.
And it might be because he didn't want him to go to the Patriots, whatever. But it was a nice move by Fournette going up there to get the GM Tom Brady to say, hey, let's make sure we get this guy back. But I think that's part of it. Don't you? I think this Bowles team, I think we'll see a bigger commitment to the run game because Bowles know that helps his defense. It helps keep Brady upright. And those are the most important things at this point, right?
Yes. And listen, you can't knock the success that Bruce Arians and his offense had in the league. I mean, again, 30 points per game has been the average over the past 2 seasons. And they've won a Super Bowl, and they've had a top 3 offense in each of the last 3 years here. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when you're the quarterback whisperer as the head coach, and you have the greatest quarterback of all time under center, and you have a former quarterback calling the plays in Byron Leftwich, your inclination is to throw the hell out of the ball.
Exactly.
That's what you like to do. At the same time, Todd Bowles knows that, the first thing that any good defense has to do is stop the run. And of course, the Buccaneers are built to stop the run. And that's where the emphasis is. So Todd Bowles, more than anybody, believes in what a strong running game can do. If you go back to that common denominator in all 3 of their losses to the Rams, especially since they're the biggest threat to the Bucs in the NFC, it's been the inability to run the ball. And when you can't run the ball when you want to, I'm not saying you got to run for 125 yards on the Rams, but you got to rush for more than 31.
Yep.
You got to rush for more than 51. And so if you can get 75 to 90 yards rushing against the Rams and run the ball when you want to and be effective and not have Tom Brady drop back 50 times in those games where you're asking him to throw against the likes of a Jalen Ramsey and face the pass rush of an Aaron Donald, it's only going to make the Buccaneers offense less predictable, more effective. And that I think is going to be the difference. And I think Todd Bowles knows that.
And to that point, you guys wrote a story on Ryan Jensen saying he's got praise for the new guards. And, Shaq Mason was the 5th, I think, top-rated guard. But the one thing that he does better than anything is run block. I mean, I saw that when he played at Georgia Tech. This guy is a freaking earth mover, man. And I think it's one of the reasons Jason Light targeted him because they know this guy knows how to move people. He knows how to get up to the second level. I think their run game is going to be, and everybody, national people are saying, oh, this Bucs offensive line is in shambles. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? But I think it could be a better run blocking line.
I think so, too. And you mentioned Shaq Mason. And listen, he's only 6'1". He's probably the shortest starting offensive lineman in the league. But that's fine because he's already got the leverage down to 1 before he even comes off the ball. And when I say come off the ball, this guy's like a missile. He's like a torpedo. He literally launches himself into his guy. And, if I could be so bold, if you want to watch some football porn today, go look at Shaq Mason's Georgia Tech highlights. When he was an All-American. It's just stunning. He was one of my favorite players coming out of college football at that time. and obviously dropped to day 3 because of his lack of ideal size. But man, he's just been so effective, especially in the run game, because he is a heat-seeking missile. I remember talking to Tristan Wirfs about Shaq Mason. Keep in mind, these guys at the time were just in phase 2, so they were just literally doing sprints, nothing really football. But he said Tristan Wirfs, who's a phenomenal athlete, right, first-round pick, says, I can't beat Shaq Mason off the line. I can't. I tried.
Wow.
I'm just not as fast, as quick as this guy. And he said, it's great because I'm trying to be. He's making me better, but nobody gets off the ball faster than this guy. He's going to be fun to play with.
Great stuff, Scotty Reynolds. As always, my friend, I'm looking at Pewter Report right now. You guys got so much content up there right now. Great stories all. Tell the folks what you guys are doing and how they can access all your content.
We have a ton of content up on PeterReport.com and even more coming this weekend. We have our Pewter Report Roundtable coming out tomorrow morning. You know what the topic is, JP? It's who are the 4 guys on the Bucs Mount Rushmore? So many great Bucs to choose from, right?
Ooh.
I mean, it's going to be kind of a battle royale on the PR staff to determine who those 4 guys are going to be.
Wow.
So make sure you check out that story tomorrow on PeterReport.com. And you can always find us on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We come out with our Pewter Report podcast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday live at 4 o'clock. If you can't tune in live, we've got the podcast there for you archived, so you can check those out. And that's Pewter Report TV on our YouTube channel. And also follow us on social media at Pewter Report on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Great stuff, Scotty. Thanks, my friend. Appreciate your time. We'll see you Saturday night at Amalie Arena.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. Go Bucks. All right, quick break. When we come back, the great Brian Bradley's going to join us, talk about that big win last night as the Bolts wrap up Game 5, look to finish the series here at Game 6 tomorrow night. Brian Bradley coming up next. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape Commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, the big name guests just keep rolling on like they always do on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his medical team will take great care of you. Go to BAMMC.com as we bring in the great Brian Bradley, Lightning first All-Star and leading scorer. What's up, brother? How are you, my friend?
Good, JP. Just got back early this morning around 3 a.m. and just kind of getting adjusted here. But what a game in New York. You know what? The Bolts, they just find a way to win. Man. Another game where it's close in the last 2-3 minutes. They score a late goal from Palat again. And you know what? Sergachev makes a shot and it hits a shin pad and goes right in the net. And now the Rangers are in deep trouble.
So you didn't get sucker punched last night, did you? Like that other Lightning fan?
Oh. Yeah, you know what? I saw that, JP, on – you sent it on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was just
it's disgusting.
Man, the guy should be arrested. Could you imagine doing that and the person, dies? I mean, going to jail for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life for that.
Dumbass.
Like, that's just crazy what happened there. So I think the team's trying to find out who it was. And
they did. They found him.
For him, but
they found him. They arrested him. He's on 2 counts of assault. So I guess he assaulted somebody else too. How about that?
Really?
Yeah.
What about the Lightning fan? Do they know who the Lightning fan was?
No, I don't think we found out who the Lightning fan is yet, or if they're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if they were seriously hurt, we'd know by now. But he was out. He was out for quite some time, and kudos to the couple Rangers fans that stopped. But security, where were they at going after this guy? A lot of Rangers fans just walked by. You can hear in the background a lot of them laughing and like, "Oh, he's dead," I think. I mean, just disgusting behavior. And I don't want to broad brush all Ranger fans because that's not fair. But I don't know what was the atmosphere like in the building. You were there last night.
Yeah, the Rangers. I mean, you know what? They have a lot of celebrities in there. McEnroe and Jimmy Fallon, and the list goes on from all these different shows and stuff like that. But you know what? When the Rangers score and they do something good, the crowd gets into it. But let me tell you, the Lightning played a perfect road game. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was kind of interesting because we only had 3 shots in the first period or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was kind of a tight Tampa Bay Lightning kind of game, but the fans never really got into it. They scored that goal, in the second period from Lindgren. And, the fans kind of went crazy at that point, but it was very quiet after that. And, then Sergachev scored the goal to tie the game late in the second period with just a nice wrist shot from the point, just snuck by Shesterkin, to his low catching hand. But, shoot the puck, get it on net. There could be a rebound, but, good for him. But I thought the crowd was very quiet. I think everybody was on pins and needles because it was such a tight game. I don't think the Rangers played bad. I thought Shesterkin played well.
Yeah.
I thought Bazzi was outstanding too. I thought we played a great road game. We just sat back, waited, played a good in the neutral zone, no turnovers, really good in our zone. And you know what, at the end of the day, we waited around, and you know what, then Sergachev shoots one, hits a shin pad, goes in the net. But the Lightning find ways to win. That's what good teams do. And then, Hagel gets the empty net, but the crowd really never got into it except that one time. And let me tell you, on Saturday night, I can't even imagine the Amalie Arena. That roof's going to blow off again because, here we are, one game away from going to Stanley Cup again. And these guys are going after, a dynasty with 3 in a row. So we can't look there yet, but I mean, you know what? The Rangers are getting tired, JP. I mean, you know what? They played hard. They came out and did what I thought. They pushed in the first. I mean, you know what? They played really overall a good game, but, outshot us, I think, 8-3 or something in the first period. Then we outshot them 13-8. And, final shots, we outshot them in the third period too. But, I mean, they played 19 games in 38 days.
Yep.
So they're getting tired. You can't tell me, the kids are young and this and that. you know what? They've got some injuries. Strome came back. Hito came back, but they're not 100%. And you know what? The wear and tear now after playing every other day for, 38 days, it's showing. I mean, there's no question about it. And I think for the Rangers, the last couple of games has been frustrating because they played not too bad, but they've got no wins.
Yep.
And you're playing a team, the Lightning, they know what it takes to get that win. They sit back. They've been there. They've experienced what it's like. Hey, let's just wait. They're going to make a mistake and then capitalize on it. And then the other team is they're demoralized.
Yep.
The Rangers are going to come out here in the first period and try and give it all they got. I don't know what they have left in the tank. And the Lightning, Vazzy's playing great. I mean, we kick it up. Hedman's playing unbelievable. Like all our D-core. I mean, there was a time in the third period we only had 5D. Ryan McDonough went out for like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he came back and played the last 4.5 minutes. But we were all wondering what happened to Ryan McDonough. Was he injured? Someone said he might have got a cut. They had to, take him to the dressing room. So, but at the end of the day, he came back. And you know what? The other guys stepped up. I thought Bogosian played good.
Yeah.
Ruda played good. I mean, when you're talking about Chernak and Sergachev, they're steady. And then, Hedman's a beast back there. So I thought the 5 defensemen really came into play and played really good. All the units, Stamkos is fighting at the end.
How about that?
Lafreniere's after him. I thought, it's great for the captain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the guys on the team are like, this is great. They take a shot at Kucherov after the whistle. And you know what? Everybody gets involved. So, you know what? The Lightning won. I mean, did they outplay the Rangers by a lot? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, they found a way to win. And that's what great teams do.
So well put, Brian Bradley joining us here. And you mentioned Sergachev. One of the things he's always been good at, probably one of the best parts of his game, is being able to find the net from distance, from the point, being able to get his wrister to the net and on net. And that's so key to get rebounds, to get redirects. And both of those shots, he moves so well at the point and just finds that little opening, and his wrister is so accurate that he can find those shooting lanes. It's a special talent. Talk a little bit about that, because it led to both the key goals.
Oh yeah, Sergachev is so. Here's the thing. He's been in the league for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
You know what? And you know what? You think of Sergachev like kind of Hedman, and he's learning from Hedman and McDonough, which is amazing. And you know what? Hedman's 31 years old. We all know what Hedman and Ryan McDonough is one hell of a player. Don't kid yourself. And you know what? He's learning so much from these guys. And guess what? He's won 2 Stanley Cups, and the kid's 23 years old. That's crazy. Yep. He's not even close to his prime at 26 or 7. And that's a great thing for the Lightning organization. So to me, he's just learning and gaining so much experience, but he's so calm with the puck for his age, and the experience shows of being in the Stanley Cup Finals and playing. And you know what? I think he won a Memorial Cup with the Windsor Spitfires. I mean, Steve Yzerman brought him here with the Drouin trade, which is amazing when you look at it now. But I mean, he's got it. He's got composure. He's good with the puck. He's got a bullet shot. When he shot those pucks, they're only like maybe a foot and a half in the air, but they're coming in like a missile. And, sometimes the goalie doesn't pick it up to the last second. And, the first one went in clean, and it hit the other one, hit flat shin pad and went in that. But, like I said, the Rangers had some chances too. Strome almost scored there with about 4 minutes to go. And you know what? I think Andrew Kopp made a nice play to him, but they didn't score. But, the Lightning, they just find a way to win.
Yeah.
Look at Plot again. But he got a game-winning goal, 11th game-winning goal now.
Yep.
And franchise history in the playoffs. That's just crazy. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he played well. I mean, the team's they're focused. They're doing what they need to do. Vazzy's playing the way Vazzy needs to play, and he's gonna. If we get through this series, knock on wood, he's gonna have to even step it up, because the Colorado Avalanche are one hell of a team.
Yeah, they are. We're not there yet, but waiting in the wings, no doubt about it. You mentioned the Drouin deal. Think about this. Chernak and Sergachev, 2 first-round defensemen, two of the best young defensemen in the game today. We give up Ben Bishop, who we had to trade anyway, and get Chernak, and then we turn Drouin, who, I mean, he wasn't long for this franchise, was never going to fit in here. And we turned him in to Sergachev. I mean, that's two pretty good deals right there by Steve Yzerman. Wow. And part of the core of this team. Hey, let me ask you a little bit of what did you think of Kucherov's game last night? It seemed like he got a lot of attention, did some good things, but in the end, and this is the great thing about it, this team can win when Kucherov maybe doesn't have a huge contribution and Braden Point's not even playing, but yet we still find a way to win a key game on the road. That's incredible. What did you think of Kucherov's game last night?
Yeah, you know what he had. He had an assist on the empty net goal.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some chances. I think, did he hit the post in the first period? I can't remember now.
Yeah, he hit that crossbar.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he hit
the
that crossbar.
Yeah. He has three shots on goal.
Yeah.
He had a couple of posts in the first period. We only had 3 shots, but they understand. The Rangers understand that to beat the Lightning, they're going to have to beat Vazzy, and they haven't been able to beat Vazzy 5-on-5. They're relying on their power play, and you know what? They're only getting 1 power play last night, but they know Kucherov runs the show, points out, so they know when he's on the ice, there's extra special attention to Nikita Kucherov.
Yep.
And those guys know exactly where he is at all times because he can just change one play, one shift, and change the whole game around. So those guys, they know exactly. You can see when he's on the ice and you're at the game live, and you know what? The Ranger guys know Kucherov's on the ice, and they know where he's at, and they see there's guys just waiting to make sure he doesn't get too close to the puck. So, and he's dynamic, and you know what? But you know what? He always finds a way to get stuff done. And, last night might not have been his best game, but he played a solid game. I mean, I thought the whole team was good. And you know what? Stamkos and, Cirelli, to me, I thought Cirelli, here's a guy that, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's a checking guy, shuts down their top lines on every team. He played solid. He had some really good chances, great on faceoffs. You know what? I just love the way he played. Korn and, Hagel. Korn hasn't scored a goal, but let me tell you, I love Alex Korn. He works his ass off and played real well. That line has been tremendous. I thought Cirelli could have probably scored two goals, maybe even had a couple other chances, but that kid's playing really well. We need him. We don't have Point right now.
Right.
So someone's got to step up into that role. And you know what? He's did a great job. And penalty killing, our penalty killers have been solid. They don't give many opportunities to the Rangers, even though they only had 1. They didn't have many chances on Vazzy.
You mentioned earlier, too, that the Lightning, you said, played a perfect road playoff game. And we had this stat. The Lightning are the #1 franchise in the history of the NHL in winning percentage on the road in the playoffs, which I just find incredible.
Wow.
What is kind of like, from your perspective, the recipe or the process, whatever you want to call it, of winning in the playoffs? Because you can't win a championship unless you win in the playoffs, as you know.
Oh, you know what? Even John Cooper said at the end of the game, they're not sitting there trying to just wait till the last 5 minutes and score a goal. You can't do that all the time, but they find ways to win. But they're structured. They're defensive play in their own zone. They don't break down. They know exactly what they need to do. They play in the neutral zone. And, when they're moving their feet, and I can't say enough, they're aggressive, moving their feet. And, they get the puck in the neutral zone. They don't give the other team any chances because they're on them. And then when they do get it, they're not turning it over in the neutral zone. That's when we get into trouble.
Right.
We make these cross-ice passes. We're trying to do something that we shouldn't do. The play's maybe there, but it's not. We turn it over. The other team turns around us in the neutral zone, and they're right down, and they break us down in their zone. We're not doing that anymore. We did that we were so bad in games 1 and 2 in New York. It was just like, what are we doing? Not moving our feet, just sitting back. But now we're moving our feet, playing with pace, playing with speed, and we don't have a play. We get to the neutral zone, we dump it in, and we go.
Right.
And the Rangers got to go back again. And, we're fast. When we get in there, we get the puck a lot of times just by dumping it in. And once we do, we're great at cycling the puck. And that's what a good road team does. And then, you know what? We sit back and we don't get it. We go back into the neutral zone with structure and play great defensive hockey. And after a while, it just wears on you.
Yeah.
You're the team just like, God, I can't get anything. And they're so good in front of the net. They don't get many chances in front of Vazzy. If you watch high danger shots, we don't give many up. They keep everybody outside. So, you know what, after a while it wears on you. It's like, God, here we go again. I mean, I just got punished in the corner and I'm coming back.
Yeah.
We're going down again. There's nothing. I have nothing. There's nothing for me to do right now. I dump it in. We're not getting any chances. So you get frustrated. And then what happens is teams start to take chances and say, well, I know the coach wants me to do this, but I might just try and do this. And they make the mistake. And then all of a sudden it's a turnover and it's a 2-on-1. And we had some 2-on-1s last game. Let me tell you that. There was a few times where we walked in. I was like, oh, man, bury it and it's over. And, you know, we didn't score. But they made some mistakes where we had some quality chances and we didn't put them in. But that's what happens when teams get frustrated.
Right.
You know, they get tired, frustrated, and then they break down.
Yeah, they keep the pressure on. Yeah, last night the Rangers had 27 giveaways to the Lightning's 14. And 14 is probably too many, but 27 is way too many. And puck management was that. And we won the faceoffs last night 55-45, which is something that's huge. Yeah, that's huge. And we picked that up. As the series has gone along, we've taken away the giveaways. And then our face-off percentage is going up. So where puck management has been so much better. So now we got to put it away. Game 6, partner. Don't know if Braden Point's coming back, but you know, at this point, does it really, you know, not to diminish what he can bring, but you know, this Lightning team is rolling, and even though last night was a very even game, I thought never at that point did I think the Lightning were going to lose. I was like, this tempo is Lightning tempo. They're controlling the game. They're not giving up a lot of dangerous chances. They're just controlling. You just felt like this was we were kind of playing chess and they were playing checkers. Like we know exactly we're two moves ahead, and in the end we're going to win this thing. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that's the formula you got to look at for Game 6. Like you said, the Rangers are going to come out with their hair on fire. You just kind of got to, let them tire themselves out and say, okay, y'all done now? Now we're going to kick your ass again. We're going to frustrate you. We're going to pressure Shesterkin. We're going to get the goals, and then we're going to shut you down. That's the formula, right? Close it out.
Yeah, no, I agree, JP. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think we change anything. I mean, you know what, Braden Point, I'm hearing he's close. I don't know what that means, but I mean, we got a 3-2 lead right now, and if we can win Saturday night, he gets another 4 or 5 days to rest.
Right.
To me, we're not going to. To me, if we win Saturday, we'll probably start Wednesday in Colorado.
Right.
So that gives us like 3, maybe Thursday. I don't think it'll go much past Thursday. So I'm thinking Wednesday, Thursday in Colorado. But to me, I mean, I think right now you just let him rest.
Yeah.
Unless he's close to 100. I mean, an extra 5 or 6 days off for Braden Point now is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm going to say this right now. To beat Colorado, we need Point.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind.
I agree.
I mean, you know what? He's just that type of player. And you know what? They've got a lot of talent there, but they have some injuries too. I mean, Kadri's out. He's not coming back, and that's a major blow for them.
You don't think he's coming back
at all? At the end of the day, who?
Kadri, you don't think Kadri's coming back at all?
No, I don't think. I think he broke his thumb. From what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You can't play with a broken thumb.
No.
I had a broken thumb once. I was out for 4 to 6 weeks. You can't play.
Yeah.
He's a centerman. So how do you take a face-off with one? Try and put your hand on your stick without a thumb.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or try and play baseball with a broken thumb.
Can't do it.
Try and hit a baseball. Can't do it.
No
way.
No.
So, but anyways, yeah, like I said, JP, I love what you said. I think the Lightning play the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? We got home ice. We just keep playing the same way, moving our feet, play structured defense. And you know what? We're going to get chances against the Rangers because they have to win.
Right.
Now you're in a game where they have to win. This is a game where, hey, the Rangers have been there before. They've played Pittsburgh or they've played Carolina. But you know what? They haven't played Vazzy. I mean, that's what I'm talking. We got Vazzy. It's just a different he's
level.
Just the best goalie in the world. So at the end of the day, the Rangers will come out, like you said, with their hair on fire in the first period. And you know what? If they get down a goal or two, it's over. Yeah. They're not coming out of this one.
All right.
I think we're done on Saturday night.
I think we are too. And I will see you there, my friend, at the arena with 20,000 of our closest friends. And we'll take care of the Rangers. And hopefully our whoever that Lightning fan was that got cold cock will be fine.
Yeah.
We'll fly him in and have them light the Tesla coils. How about that?
Yeah. That'd be so cool.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
A great idea, JP. I love it.
Absolutely. All right, partner. Great stuff. We'll chat with you soon. See you Saturday night.
You betcha. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. The great Brian Bradley right there. That was a pretty good idea, right? Find our guy that got knocked out. bring him to Tampa Bay and celebrate him getting off the deck down 2-0. Down 2-0 in the game.
Definitely needs to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know about Tesla coils, but he needs definitely to be there in the arena.
And speaking of that, when they showed their New York celebrities last night, you got your Jimmy Fallon, your Anderson Cooper, give me Titus O'Neil and Ric Flair any day, babe. Liam Neeson. I'll take Titus O'Neil and Ric Flair and Rondé Barber and Derek Brooks and Booger McFarlane over that group any effing day of the week.
I'm glad you just said Ric Flair because I have to bring this up to you. I have to bring this up to you.
What?
After the game was over, I was talking to Casey on the phone and I was like, yeah, there was a lot of big name people there. Like Ric Flair was there. Like she goes, who? I said, Ric Flair. And I even said like, woo, and everything, the Nature Boy. And she's like, that sounds ridiculous. And I'm like, you don't know who Ric Flair is? She goes, no. And she's like, because I don't know who he is, then I guess nobody else cares either.
No,
and I'm like, oh
no.
I'm like, Casey,
are you guys still engaged?
Casey, for now. I did make her mad yesterday at one point, and she did take the ring off and set it on the counter. So,
no.
So I say for now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what was that movie where guys get married and this fiance and she had to pass like 100-question exam on sports? I think Michael Rappaport was in the movie, and she's like, down in the basement studying for the test and taking the test, and like your ring depends on this, and she passed the test. Like, I don't know. I mean, can you marry a girl who doesn't know who Ric Flair is?
I was
Mr. Wrestling?
I was exactly.
Like,
I'm
I
like,
don't know, man.
I'm like, that's what I watch and everything. And I'm like, I feel like I definitely mentioned Ric Flair, but the fact that she's never even heard the name, like nobody else talk about it. Like, if you don't know the face, okay, I'll cut you some slack. But you've never heard the name?
She's what, a 23-year-old girl?
Yes.
Yeah, why would she know who the hell Ric Flair is?
Everybody knows who Ric Flair is.
No, they don't.
I think they do.
You think the world revolves around wrestling, bro? It does not.
There are like a handful of wrestlers that everybody on this planet should know. Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, The Rock. There you go. Everybody should know who those people are.
They're really old. Like Ric Flair hasn't meaningfully wrestled in 30 years.
He's going to wrestle soon.
Oh, come on, man.
Everybody should know Ric Flair. At some point, you had to have seen his face, heard his name. Like, I don't know what rock you're living under.
I don't know. I think you're going to get that ring back. I don't know. We joke, of course.
The point is he going to be there? Is he going to be there Saturday? Because that was a great visual seeing him.
I would think,
seeing him pound some beers.
We had Tom Brady on video. Yeah, but we had all those other guys in the house. That's a Jimmy Fallon, Anderson Cooper kind of crowd.
Do the Rays play a day game on Saturday?
Can
we get some Rays in the building?
What's that?
Did the Rays play a day game on Saturday? We got any Rays in the building?
They're on the road.
Or are they going on the road?
Yeah, they're on the road.
So there'll be no Rays in the building.
I was trying to get Brad Johnson, but he had to go back to Black Mountain. I don't know. I don't know who we're gonna have, but it'll be something special. Maybe it will be. Maybe it's time for the GOAT. I think we got to wait for the Stanley Cup final for that.
Minicamp ended yesterday, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's still in town.
He's already in Mallorca.
Yeah, I don't think he's in town anymore.
He's not here anymore?
No.
Well, listen, I think if we get Brady, it'll be at the final. If we get him. Yeah. Speaking of Brady, he spoke yesterday. We played the whole interview yesterday and kind of broke it down, but I think now there's been reaction around the nation. So we'll take a break. We'll come back and delve a little bit into the overhype on what he said yesterday. And we'll talk about a couple of Bucks related. More stuff on the LIV golf. We had Bob Harrigan earlier, but there was another major incident there that people are talking about as well. We'll get to that and much more when we come back. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you in our second hour by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking to lose weight, get your immune system to be a bit more robust, testosterone replacement therapy, that's things they do so well at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. As we've learned in the past few years, there's a lot going into what we need for our medical care. Getting our immune system boosted up is key, obviously, for the next pandemic that comes down the line. So get control of your health right now. Just, being slim or being in good health is now not just to look good. It's a matter of life and death, right? As we learned from COVID, being obese can really affect your longevity. And it's a great time to get into a personalized program at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. This is what they do so well. It's not a one-size-fit-all strategy. They look at your blood work. They look at your lifestyle. They look at your exercise, what you're eating, and then give you a plan personalized that will help you lose weight or get to your desired goals. Very different from a lot of other doctors that just kind of have a template that they give to everybody. This is not the way they do it at Bay Area Modern Medical Centers. Go see Chris Lugo. He works with the military, with the National Guard, keeps our pilots in tip-top shape. He can do the same for you at BAMMC.com. All right, as we mentioned yesterday, Tom Brady met the media for the first time in like 3 months, a real press conference, and answered a lot of different questions. Of course, the big question that everybody wanted to know was about the retirement and the dalliance with the Miami Dolphins and his good friend Stephen Ross, the owner over there. Here was the question, and then we'll get to some of the reaction of the national media, or overreaction, as it may be.
The game. Any truth to the reports that at some point you were interested in becoming a part of the Miami Dolphins in any situation, in any circumstance? Any truth to those reports, Tom?
About me going to
joining the Dolphins in any capacity?
I mean, I had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, as I've had for the last 3 or 4 years in my career, about, different opportunities when I'm done playing with football. So, I kind of made a decision of what I'd like to do. I'll get to be in the game of football. And I think for me, the most important thing is where I'm at now and, what I hope to do for this team. That's been my commitment to, this team and organization. It's been so much fun for me to come here 2 years ago. It's been almost 2.5 years now, and it's been an incredible part of my football journey. And it's not over, and we still got a lot to accomplish. So I got a long life ahead, and there's a lot of fun things to do ahead. I'm looking forward to what's ahead in football, but at the same time, none of us are promised much beyond what we have now, and this is the current moment, and I'm really excited about going out there to try to compete and win a championship.
I love the last question in there from Nelson. The PR director is like, when it turns to Miami Dolphins, get me the hell out of here.
Mid-answer, too. Mid-answer.
Yeah. Well, he was going to make sure that, it's funny, like, it just kind of behind the scenes stuff as far as press conferences go. The veterans in the room, the Ira Kaufmans, the Rick Strouds, the Scott Reynolds, the veterans in the room know that there's some controversial questions that they need to get asked and answered, but you don't lead with them, because there's a chance that things get sour, especially with a guy like Brady, and they walk out of the room, or he just goes all full cliche the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. So you got to be very careful. The timing has to be everything. You got to know how much time you got and where that comes in. And clearly that was the end. And listen, Brady was never going to embellish on it, but now the question has been asked and answered. And I think it was good that he did this and did not wait till training camp. Get it out of the way, questions asked and answered. We move on, we move forward. And like Scott Reynolds said, and we said yesterday, all that shit has no bearing on the future of this team. Because when Brady signs up, he's all in. He's all in. There's no more of that stuff.
Yeah, because he knows this is probably, I'm going to assume this is it. Right?
I think it is.
I'm going to assume this is it. Based on the way they've built the roster around him, they're going for it to win another Super Bowl, to get Brady an 8th one before he retires, I think. That's the only way I think he wants to end this.
Just audacious does that sound.
It's crazy. But, yeah, it doesn't matter if he did. And by the way, you talk about it. Clearly, the opportunity went nowhere. I'm sure the discussion did happen because you didn't deny it. But clearly, it went nowhere because then he turned around and signed the huge deal with Fox Sports.
Right.
So, barring Tom Brady getting out of that contract somehow, he's committed for the next 10 years whenever he retires to Fox Sports. We know that already. That's where he's going.
Yeah. So, you can't own a team and be an analyst for the Fox Sports.
So that's where he's going. Does that have any bearing on the Buccaneers? No. It does not. And I think part of it from a fan's perspective is we want every player that comes here to be to really be a Buccaneer and be all about it, right? And to live here and love it here. And obviously Tom is such a unique situation. He does not live here. He lives in Miami. He's not out in the community as often as you would like, obviously.
Yes.
But I tell you all the time, he's a unique athlete, and that's just the way it is. And I think that's where maybe some of the fan pushback, if there is any, would come from. But honestly, I really don't see much of that. Like I said, like we said yesterday, you're grateful that he picked this area, that he took us to a Super Bowl, won us a Super Bowl, and anything else is window dressing at this point.
Yeah. No, I'm half joking on a lot of this stuff, but we know this. It's 3 years of Brady. It's going to be arguably the greatest 3 years in the history of Buccaneer football, and we ought to sit back and enjoy it and not talk about the future and just who cares what he does after this year? I really don't care. I don't care if he goes and plays for the Dolphins because, and I said this yesterday, and I don't mean it in a disparaging way whatsoever. As much as we love Tom Brady coming here, and, don't get it twisted. He's not bleeding pewter and red. He's not. He's a hired gun. He's a mercenary in some ways. He was going to find the best situation for him, and it didn't matter whether it was Tampa Bay, New York, Philadelphia, or any place else. He's about winning, and this was his best chance to win, and he proved that. He went and won a Super Bowl, has a damn good chance to win another one, and that's what it's all about, and that's fine. As much as we would love to believe that our athletes and our leaders in these sporting event bleed, lightning blue and raise blue like some of the fans do. It's not the case. They love their team. They're loyal to their team, but this is their career. They're professionals and they've get opportunities elsewhere to play in great situations. That's exactly what they're going to do. And that's what you would do. That's what I would do. It's what everybody would do.
If there's anything that you could take away from the last year or so of the way sports has gone, you should know now that it is strictly a business.
It's a business.
Like everybody wants to cry about loyalty and this and that. And listen, A younger me was always down that rabbit hole.
Of course.
Of stay in one place. Like, why would you leave? This and that. Player movement is bad. Why?
Yeah.
But you think about it. I have every right in my own job to leave
Hell
if I'm not
yes.
happy,
Yes.
if I want to get more pay. I mean, because like you said, life's short, and especially in this profession where the average career, what's the average career of an NFL player?
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yep.
If you're a great player, 10, maybe.
Yeah.
You never know. One
And
play
getting
and
less
it's
and
over.
less all the time.
Yeah, and one play
Yeah.
and it's over right before you know it. So, yeah, go get your money. Go chase the rings. Who cares? This is all fan media talk anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I've come around on it.
Yeah.
So,
and that's part of it. We have fun with it.
and there's some that do honestly bleed red and pewter. I mean, Jared McCoy hasn't played for this franchise in 4 years?
Yeah.
Still the biggest Buccaneers supporter you're going to find out there. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I think that's just because he wanted more money here, but
Maybe.
no.
But that's fantastic. But
Yeah.
not everybody's like that. Mike Evans, the same way. I think he does bleed red and pewter to an extent.
Oh,
But
yeah.
not everybody's like that.
His loyalty is tremendous, and you look at all these other receivers and the shenanigans they're pulling, and and I don't bemoan them. All right, like you want to go Tariq Hill, you want to go get paid, Devontae Adams, you want to get paid. I'm fine with it. It's great. I'm just thankful that our receivers aren't that way. I'm just thankful, and it's not like they're not making a lot of money. They are, but they could be making more. And they could be not coming to training camp, and they could be ruining what would be a great season with you call it selfishness, but in the NFL, the only way to get paid if you're overperforming your contract is to do that. So that's partly the system, but I'm just glad that we've got guys that prioritize team first and don't chase an extra $3, $4, $5 million at the expense of the team. And that's what it takes to win. Frankly, that's what it takes to win. And when you, as a team builder, Jason Light, and something that he readily admits he's learned along the way, you gotta pay way more attention to what's inside the guy, not just what's on the back of his football card or his stat sheet. You got to find out what's in here, what's in the heart. Like how committed are you to playing football? Are you, as Rondé Barber used to tell me, there's two types of guys in the NFL. There's guys that like being NFL players, and there's guys that love football. And if you want to win, you got to have guys that love football. And there's, you can tell who's who. You can tell who's who. There's no doubt about it. All right, I'm going to move on to a couple other topics. And you brought this to my attention. I hadn't seen the video, but going back to LIV golf, which you've been watching during the show, being bored to death. Right?
It's off now.
It's terrible though. Well, you're monitoring it. It's good. We need that.
I don't want to take a crap on it by any means.
Go ahead.
I mean, I write a lot about it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be as bipartisan as I can with it.
Yeah.
And I support it for the most part, more so than most.
Right.
But I don't know. Watching golf on a YouTube live stream, it takes a little bit away from me, I guess. And there's like this thing going around right now about the two broadcasts comparing PGA Tour. And a lot of people were saying that this one's actually better because they show like twice as many shots and they don't do the packages the PGA Tour does and everything. For me personally, I kind of like the way the PGA Tour does that.
Yeah, I think
I don't want to watch. I have no interest on it because golf is an interesting sport to watch. I have no interest in watching 100 shots back to back like that.
And,
I do like
in this case,
break it up.
75% of them, you don't even know who these guys are.
I have no idea who they are. So,
yeah.
I mean, you got to learn who these people are, but it's called investment. And right now I'm not invested. I got to get there. I need, like when Phil's hitting, yeah, I'm invested. But when anybody else is hitting, not really.
It's names, it's players, and, obviously the PGA Tour and the Masters and the Open and the US Open, they have this long tradition of, making you interested. Obviously there's, they have history behind them, and it's where the great moments happen in sports. Will LIV ever get there? I don't think so, because to me, it just seems like such a money grab. And I think that turns a lot of people off.
And I have no problem with that. Like I've said, these guys are all past their prime for the most part. They aren't doing anything on the PGA Tour.
If somebody's like, hey, Ricky Fowler's going to the LIV, I'm like,
cool.
Okay,
like,
good for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what it is. And if you're expecting it to be anything more, unless like DeChambeau's a big name to join. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Dustin Johnson, same thing.
Yeah.
But I probably need maybe 4 or 5 names close to that for me to gain interest. For me to tell you that, yeah, this is competition right now, and give me a TV rights deal too in the US,
which they don't have.
Which, based on the reaction to this thing, what company is going to put this on their?
I noticed the Golf Channel didn't show any.
Oh, hell no.
highlights.
No.
And
Who's gonna
I don't
put it
think I
on
saw any on ESPN either.
They're not going to put. Well, ESPN did show some of it.
Did they?
Late last night, I saw.
Okay.
But what network, given the backlash of these guys just straight up joining the league, who's gonna put it on their network?
And the whole idea, and when I say I don't like the LIV, I'm not sitting here being some moralist about, it being funded by Saudi Arabia and what they stand for and their human rights violations. Look, I don't like that part of it, but I'm also, smart enough to know that every single sports league that I watch is in bed with regimes and supported by governments or finances that don't have the most sterling record in terms of human rights. I mean, the NBA in China, hell, the NFL gets money from China. I mean,
I wish I had.
We buy tons of stuff from China.
Yeah.
It's just it's a global economy now. It is what it is. That being said, and I think was the biggest thing that Phil Mickelson brought out in his comments. And one of the reasons I think the backlash is ridiculous is because everything he said was true. Everything he said was true, and pointed out the hypocrisy of so many golf leagues or any sports leagues that are all intricately tied to a lot of, quote, dirty money. And so you want to start moralizing on all this stuff, you're not going to have any sports to watch at all.
Yeah, I wish I don't have it with me, but I wish I did what the Colin Cowherd said yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought what he said was like one of the most insightful things I've heard anybody on the topic say about LIV golf for Live Golf who are criticizing it. And you kind of just mentioned some of it. The NBA does business with China. Saudi Arabia people that were born in Saudi Arabia, I believe, played a big part in 9/11, right?
Yes.
That's what Colin had said.
100%.
There's no sanctions.
The government.
There's no sanctions.
The government, part of the Saudi government financed those guys.
There's no sanctions on
And then
Saudi Arabia for that.
Then we allowed all these Saudi people who live here in the United States to be the only ones who could take off in a plane and fly back to Saudi Arabia. Like our government allowed that. Somebody explain that to me.
The point is, though, it's like we didn't put sanctions on after Saudi Arabia did those things. But now we're going to get pissed off and get the pitchforks out for guys playing golf.
Yeah. Come on.
When you sit back and think about it, it's not that deep. And again, morally, if you have a problem with it, that's cool. If these guys don't have a moral problem with it and they can live with themselves, that's cool too.
Yeah, it's
but like,
and here's the thing. And I've criticized LeBron for China and everything. The reason I criticize LeBron about China is because he gives China a pass on everything, but attacks, and calls America a systemically racist country, but says nothing about China where he makes $1 billion. I mean, you got to at least Phil Mickelson. This is what I think I love about what Phil said, and he didn't say it in the most eloquent way, but he pointed out the hypocrisy that everybody knows. And at least he was pointing it out and not glossing it over like some of these other athletes do.
He said
so I appreciate
he said
that.
the quiet part out loud.
He did. He did.
But
and for that, we're going to
destroy
him?
No, I won't. But with that being said, the one thing that I said has bothered me about this whole thing is kind of the way Greg Norman has been acting.
Oh, my God.
And the
Tell
comments.
This story.
Yesterday, Alan Shipnuck, he's the biographer who published those quotes from Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
And that created this whole firestorm.
They put the Saudis in such horrible light.
Yeah.
Just illuminated what they did.
This is a reporter who you gave a press credential to travel all the way to London for this event. And he sits in on the Phil Mickelson press conference, and he was physically escorted out by security. And he kept asking security, whose order is this from? And they said from our boss, who they failed to name. And
that'd be Greg Norman.
Yeah, because there's a video out right now. He posted it, and you could see him getting physically escorted and like telling the security guards, like, don't get your hands off me, don't touch me, yada. Greg Norman's in the background just watching it. He's right there, like a few feet away. And then Shipnuck
ordering the code red.
Basically, Shipnuck sent him text messages, which he put out on Twitter, telling Greg Norman, hey, just thought you should know that I was physically escorted out of your press conference today. Are you going to do anything about this? Yada, yada, yada. And Greg Norman responded back, did not hear about it. Thanks for letting me know. And Greg Norman, like I said, was right there watching it. So how's that right? How's that right?
It's not.
How do you take somebody's you have them all the way fly out there to London to cover this event for you, and you don't allow them to sit in on the press conference with Phil Mickelson because you're butthurt that he gave you bad PR.
And that's what kind of chaps my ass about this whole thing is, to me, this is more about Greg Norman. This is not the first time Greg Norman's tried to start another league.
No.
He's been trying to do this for a long time, and he finally found the well of money that is big enough that people who, as Bob Herrick told us, don't give a shit about return on investment. They don't care. This is a bigger thing for them. So there's an endless pit of money to throw at players to disrupt the PGA Tour, destroy the PGA Tour. And to me, it's more about Greg Norman and whatever vendetta he has against the tour, trying to destroy the tour and doing a great job of it. So that part of it pisses me off. And if I have to take a side, I'm siding with Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and those people who, I have a hard, I'm not comfortable saying this, but it seems like they're the more virtuous side. They're the ones that turn down the 9-figure deals to say, you know what, we want to support the PGA Tour that allows everybody to come up from the bottom to become stars. You have to have that mechanism. If you're just all about paying the top 25 people, what happens to everybody else? How do they ever get into the top 25? So you're destroying the system. Now, that being said, it's pretty apparent that the PGA Tour has got a lot of issues, and they I think they have used their monopoly to kind of strong arm a lot of the players and not give them the things that they could readily afford to give them.
Yeah, I think that's probably spot on. I think the PGA Tour needs to, get off its power trip, to be honest with you, a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you're the PGA Tour. You're not going to die. Nobody's going away from the PGA Tour. Like, how many people realistically are going to say, yeah, I'm done with the PGA Tour because Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson left. I'm going to go watch these guys exclusively.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
All right, let's turn it back to our Tampa Bay Lightning, because I don't think we've played any of the goal calls, or we've had so much to talk about today.
I feel like, no, we're up against it. I just thought we haven't even gotten to the Rays yet.
We haven't gotten to the Rays yet.
I feel bad.
Yeah, let's talk about them for a second.
I feel bad because the Rays just got a nice sweep over the Cardinals. Their third series sweep this year. Now 11 games over 500, which is the best mark they've had so far this season.
Yes.
And Shane McClanahan, before our eyes. Wow.
I was watching some of that yesterday. He was making, great hitters like Goldschmidt look silly.
And Arenado.
His changeup yesterday was so devastating. It was, when you make guys like that look that bad, that put them so off, unbelievable. Since he entered the league, he's first in ERA, first in strikeouts. He's 1 or 2 in almost every main category since he started pitching last year. How about that?
Yeah. And again, that was a big risk by this front office, and saying hey, we're going to go with Shane McClanahan over Blake Snell.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And my goodness, here's a good number right
nice
here.
To have them both.
Yeah, probably. Here's a good number right here. He's the second Rays starter to ever go 6 straight starts, 6+ innings pitched, 7+ Ks, 2 home runs or fewer. The only other guy that did that was David Price, 2012, won a Cy Young.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, at the moment, Shane McClanahan looks like he's the front runner for the Cy Young. And we're getting to that point. It's June. It's mid-June now. The All-Star game is next month. I think it's very possible this guy's on the bump to start that game.
Has to be.
Who
better?
There's nobody better right now. I know Nestor Cortez has been great, and he might get the nod because he's on the best team, maybe. Justin Verlander's been great, but
where are we moving the All-Star game from this year for some ridiculous reason?
Well, right now it's in Dodger Stadium,
okay.
I believe.
Well, we won't move it from there. No,
I think it's in Dodger Stadium, right?
No, well, we can't move it from there. That is the bastion.
No, but I'm telling you though, if you're going, he's must-watch TV.
He is.
For the Rays. He really is. And if you're going to pick a game to go to a game where he's pitching, because it's fine stuff.
By the way, the game yesterday, 1 hour, 54 minutes.
Quick game.
Loved it.
Both pitchers went 8 innings, which I think they said it on the telecast. It had been 2 or 3 years since 2 pitchers in the same game went 8 innings plus.
Has it really?
I think Rich Hollenberg, I think I'm correct. That's what I heard, which is kind of insane when you think about it.
Mikolas.
Yeah.
Allowed 3 hits, including just the 1-2 run homer by G-Man Choi in the 4th. That was the deal. So yeah, the Rays bats quiet again for the most part, but they're getting the job done. And how about a strong hand for Jason Adam, who came in and put out the fire in the ninth?
Yeah, because I don't know if we mentioned, yes, it came out during our show or after. Kittredge, did you see he has to get surgery? on his arm.
No.
Yeah, I think he has the same injury that Baz has or had. So Kittredge is going to be out a little bit.
So he comes back for one event, and then how he's going back.
Yeah, it flared up again. So he has the same injury as Baz had, I believe. So he's on the shelf even longer. We already know Fire Eisen's
not good.
Still on there. So, but the bullpen again has been.
Fire Eisen's hurt now too?
Oh, he's been on the IL.
When did he go on the IL?
Last week.
I missed that one. Damn. So,
but the bullpen still though is just a machine right now. I think the best bullpen in baseball at the moment. I think.
And they keep doing it without their top arms. You got Nick Anderson still not there. I mean,
Fairbanks.
Jiminy Christmas. But I don't know how this team does it. I really don't. I'm just flabbergasted. All right. Now back to the Lightning. Dadgummit. Big Game 5 win last night. I mean, once again, who's the next star to step up? Sergachev with two big goals, but the second one went off Palat's shin pad, but I still give it to Sergei in terms of getting that puck through. Tremendous play from him. That's just a great team win. Vasilevsky was tremendous. The team's playing, just great team defense, and Stamkos fight at the end. I mean, just so much good stuff.
And I keep thinking the Rangers became that team, game 1 and game 2, to snap that streak of, what was it, 18
wins in a row after a loss. Yeah.
They have to do it again now to get to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
I cannot see it. I mean, I've been very confident. I was confident going into last night. I don't want to sound overconfident that I'm trying to pencil us into the Stanley Cup already, but I just have a hard time believing they're coming in here and getting one and then winning again in MSG against this team right now.
I don't see it.
It's the opposite effect. Like the Lightning have shown no signs of a team that have won 2 Stanley Cups already.
And, I'm sorry. We said this at the beginning of the series. The Rangers, I'm tired of their fans, number one. The whole bullshit last night, knocking out somebody, is just disgusting. And all of them on Twitter wishing, more hurricanes come to Tampa Bay, and just awful stuff. But there's nothing special about this Rangers team. I'm sorry. It's nothing. They've been, I'm sorry. 5-on-5, they were grossly outchanced by Carolina and Pittsburgh. They've been living off their power play, which is great. Fine. And Shesterkin. As a whole team, they're not special. They're not. I'm sorry. They're not. They won a couple of, and look at the goalies that they played against. They finally go up against a real NHL playoff goalie, and look what happens. They shut them down. Once we got our legs back, it's not even been, I know last night was a more even game. I just don't see anything special in this Rangers team.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I told you coming in the series, I thought
Trouba's a goon. It's a freaking goon, and he needs to be suspended for what he did last night. Even though he didn't hit Palat,
I think
the flying elbow. Come on, launching a flying elbow at some guy's head.
I still think there's something there. But no, I think I told you coming in the series, I hope the Rangers, they're ahead of schedule. They are ahead of schedule. They were not supposed to be here this early. And look at the youth they have.
Who's to say those guys ever get to be great, though? I ain't buying into it. Sorry, I'm not.
I'm not downplaying them. They're in the Final Four for a reason.
Yeah, Shesterkin and their power play and playing against shitty goalies.
No,
yes,
this is not a case of like Montreal last year. That was the fluke of all flukes, right? They got hot at the right time. They rode the interim coach.
Okay, more so.
This is not Montreal. Yeah. This team, you cannot undersell. Zibanejad's a damn good player in this league.
Listen,
Panarin, Shesterkin.
Panthers are better. Toronto's better.
I do agree with you on that.
I think the Panthers and Toronto would have beaten the Rangers, knocked them out.
I agree with that, but I'm not going to undersell this team by any means. I can't undersell it.
I am.
Oh,
average team, great goalie.
Average team.
You
do not get over 100 points in a regular season. Average team.
Average playoff team. Average playoff team that played a bunch of bad goalies, second-rate goalies, and have a great goalie in their own right. That's what I give you.
I'm not calling.
Maybe I'm a little twisted
in the
after
Final Four. I'm not calling any team an average playoff team. Right. It's a grind.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with it.
Like
Sorry,
Homer. I could see it.
Well, do you think Trouba gets suspended? I think with the Rangers season on the line, the NHL doesn't have the balls to do it. They don't have the balls to do it. I get it.
I mean, they did it to Evander Kane.
But he actually hit somebody.
He did.
The only reason this wasn't a dramatically bad injury to Andre Palat's head is because the guy whiffed and Palat was going down. That's the only reason. I mean, he's throwing a flying elbow. He's throwing a flying elbow at somebody, launching himself, and he missed because you suck. You even suck at being a goon, Trouba. God. Awful. Well, anyway, karma, because he's the one who really ended up giving up the game-winning goal. So there you go.
Hopefully when we see y'all again, we'll be celebrating going to a Stanley Cup.
That's right. We'll be headed to Colorado. May take the show to Colorado. How about that? All right. Our thanks to great guests today. Once again, Bob Herrick from London, Hertfordshire, Scott Reynolds and Brian Bradley. Check out the show if you missed any of it. At the usual places, YouTube, please follow us there. Subscribe, Apple and Spotify, fanstreamsports.com, our website. And, of course, you can always see us on Twitter and Facebook. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go Rays, go Bolts.